glitching. That's me, doing what I can to be the best I can be. Always striving to reach the top. In spite of their restrictions, I'm someone they can't stop. I'm growing, learning, inspiring, teaching, creating, and healing. It's action more than a feeling. That's why I'm always glitching. Oh yes, I've got what it takes to be the best of the best. Not competing with anybody but me. Just here to make a difference and set your captive mind free. The Matrix is not just a womb. They've gone and made it a tomb. Their system buries your dreams beneath lies and manipulative schemes. Reality is not what it seems. That's why I'm always glitching. That's me, doing what I can to be the best I can be. Always striving to be the cream of the crop. I'm thriving in their matrix, 'cause I'm the one they can't stop. It's my time, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time, it's my time. It's my time.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Dr. G Always Glitching. And I've got to say, I'm really excited about this one. Now, for those who are new to this platform, when I talk about glitching, I'm not talking about malfunction. I'm talking about transformation. A glitch, in my book, is someone who continues to, and it's an acronym, grow, learn, inspire, teach, create, and heal. And when you really understand that, you begin to recognize that a glitch isn't just someone who knows something, it's someone who's actively shifting perspective within themselves and for others. And that brings me to tonight's guest. And I know you all have been waiting for this, because in my observation, this brother checks quite a few of those boxes. Many of you may already, recognize him, especially if you've been anywhere near TikTok, because when I tell you he's been tearing it up with his insights, I mean tearing it up. People are watching, they're listening, and more importantly, people are thinking, and that's what stood out to me, actually, with regards, to this brother, not just what he's saying, but the way he's causing people to pause and question and look again. So without further ado, I am going to bring my guest on tonight, Brother Kush Day. Let me take you off of mute. Islam, it's so good to see you again.
Islam.
Listen, it's not enough for you on here on this live. Need you to like and share and let somebody know we're on, because tonight's gonna be fire. I believe, yeah. And tonight it's not our first conversation, but you know what? It's a powerful reconnect, and to see both of our evolutions. It's been about 3-4 years, and a lot has shifted. lot has grown, and it's always good, to circle back and continue the dialogue from a new space, because now, you've taken those insights a few years ago and put them into a visual work. And I know we're going to talk about current events, but I also want to talk about that book, Hidden in Plain Sight, The Parable of the Moorish Sardine. So, and we'll get that off in the beginning, but then I want you, I know you got some current stuff to break it down to us, what's really going on. And really, that takes us to another level, because when you talk about your work and what you've done, it's one thing to speak it, but it's also another thing to do what you did, to document it, to illustrate it, and then leave something behind for others to explore. So tonight we're going to have a real conversation.
Right.
We're going to observe. We're going to inquire and allow you, the audience, to view to your own understanding.
Right.
So like I said, go ahead, settle in, like, and share this live stream. I want to get those numbers up. Get this is not a lightweight guest I have here tonight, y'all. Yeah. So I'm going to start, and I want to kind of get this out of the way, because unfortunately I'm listening to your insights, but I didn't realize at first that you had written this book. And so when I did realize that, the thing that struck me was the title, Hidden in Plain Sight, the parable part, second part, Parable of the Moorish Sardine, and then on the the picture of the alleged slave ship.
Yeah.
So really, I could you, those who might be hearing from you for the first time, and it's hard to believe. I want to start here. What was the moment or a realization that made you say, okay, it's time for me to take what I've been sharing online and put it into a book? I know the prophet said we should be doing, we have to have authors and put stuff in, but what, you're giving out this deep insights, and then what happened?
Well, I just want to say, first off, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you for
coming. I appreciate all the Asiatics, all the Muslims that tune in worldwide, everywhere. I appreciate all y'all that tune in and share the beam outs, and everybody them light bulbs starting to pop on. So I want to give a shout out to all the Asiatics and the Muslims that's out there. The new Moors is coming in, and the ones that's been doing it though. Just keep doing the work. So really, Dr. G, the book just came along. Shout out to Khalifa Media. That's what my publisher is, khalifamedia.com. So if you got a book, you want to write something, you looking for merch, you looking for all kind of Moorish merch and books and literature and all that, khalifamedia.com. Got to plug that. But the book just came about just by just studying, and I wanted to make a book. I wanted to create something that if it was me sitting down in a chair at a table, how would I like the information to be presented to me in a way that it would be worded that I can, I could just digest and take notes on. That's kind of like how the formation of the book even came about.
Okay. So tell us a little bit, because I know the book's been out a few years, but the information is fresh and the insights are fresh. So tell us a little bit about some of the highlights of what those who and again, your publisher I know is Khalifa Press, but you also
khalifamedia.com.
Yeah, but and as Khalifa with a C.
Yeah.
And also it's available on Amazon. I don't know which way, I know when I went to Khalifa Media, it kind of directed me, yes, to Amazon. So you all run out.
I got two versions of the book. I got this version. This is the black and white version, and I got a black and white version.
You mean a color and a
color version? I got a color version. Excuse me. So
yeah,
you looking out for these two versions of the book: the black and white version and the color version.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So but like I said, what does a book allow you to do that social media, you can't do just with your your couple of minutes of
Yeah, because social media kind of it constricts your time that you can put in and just dig out details and research. So it opens up a time wave where you're not restricted on what you can and cannot analyze and put into to the literature. Because really it's just like people now is starting to seek the information a lot more because they tired of hearing the nonsense. They trying to figure it out, and it just need to be just sparks. That's really all it be. It's just adding little seeds and different little sparks and whatnot, so people can just look at it. And if your message is 100, the people that's like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, the ones that's knowing and seeking, they gonna hear the word. Absolutely. They gonna get in tune with it. That's really all it is.
So before we go any further, because I didn't put a whole bunch in the information, tell us about Kush Day. Who is Kush Day? Because some might what is what's his pedigree and what's his qualification? Who is this? You look like a young buck, but let them know who you are and what you do. You do more than
for sure. For sure. I've been
real Kush Day.
Yeah, for sure. For one, I'm a father. I'm a barber. With the things that I do, I'm a historian. I do a lot of things, man. I do a lot of things. So I like to definitely do a lot of things as far as a lot of stuff. Creative. I'm a real creative person. So I like to definitely create all the time. I like to put something out there and have, because when you a barber, you in the shop. So you gotta, you feel me? You gotta find your own lane. So my lane is building and destroying. That's my lane. That's what I do. You feel me? So I like to engage in conversations from all different type of levels, though, because that's what this is about. It's not just about we just drilling you with law and drilling you with history. Nah, it's because law govern all events. So really, law is in everything. But me, I just like to be myself, and just me being me. I like to just make it relatable. So
okay, but when somebody experiences you or your work, what do you want them to walk away with? Not just intellectually, but internally. When you, I'm sure any like barbers, hairstylists, anybody that works with people that closely, and you're in people's heads and hair. We talking energy transfers, right. All that stuff. We're talking, old heads coming in and agreeing or maybe not agreeing, depending on how old they are. And young, as you say, the young bucks coming in needing to know what they were, denied in through their the so-called educational, through miseducation. Yeah. So, and then you got the folks, intellectual, that they might like the way you cut hair, but like they may be, staunch Christians or, whatever their persuasion is. Yeah. So how do you? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, how do you have a perfect platform, because they're captive, at least the one in the chair. There's an exchange of energy. So how, just kind of, how does that go on a
it's, what, Dr. G, it's really though, like I used to like, when I first started like really studying, I used to try to like get people to get the message, like, you got to listen to this message. You feel me? I used to try to be like, because at the time I was so super excited about learning about more science and Taj, Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey and all of the other elders that was spitting our knowledge, that when I came across it, I see why I had to go through progressions. You feel me? I had to go through stuff to like calm me down, because, when you excited about something, you want to share it with everybody. And I learned throughout the years, like, how to like relay a message in a way where you still being yourself, but you don't deviate from the truth though. But you can relate it in a way where somebody else can catch on to the word. So I kind of like throughout the years of studying, and I still do to this day, I still figure out ways to deliver the message where I'm not demonizing, I'm not really tearing somebody down with the message, but I still hold it where it's supposed to be. I'm not finna just let somebody get something off if I know it's a lie. I'll be like, on some, I'm just finna gun them down with facts, right? I'm just finna chop them. I'm finna just chop their ass down. But now it's like I'm learning different ways to give out a message while I'm not always looking at having them think I'm tearing them down. But I'm not finna give them no Kool-Aid though.
Yeah, that's important. You know, like even me from my background, it was, you know, even to this day, I mean, I'm still dealing with people that are still where I was, but for a long time, I just cut them off, you know, and then I had to realize, you know, be yourself, but be respectful in being yourself. So you, like you said, you don't have to tear anybody down. And I realized that everybody's not going to go the route that I've gone, but at least the opportunity, if I've given it, you know, I can, you know, drop some nuggets and have them, like, make them think, you know, people make
that's
people
really, that's really all though. You just, to me, you just want to just drop something on somebody where you just getting them a spark, something that's a spark inside their mind, so they might not even catch what you're saying in the moment in real time. They might take them a little while. It might take them 5 years from now to be like, damn, Kush was talking about so-and-so, or Dr. G was talking about so-and-so, whoever was talking about something, and now I see what they were saying. You know?
Yeah. But, you know, what, if anything, has surprised you, you know, most about how people respond to your content?
I mean, I love how people respond to the content. Sometimes, like I said before, with my own personal growth and development, I see, like, before I get on some I'm finna just go at people in the comments super crazy, but now I'm starting to see, like, people are at their level that they at. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be worried about what everybody is at and get pulled into the negativity. Maybe that's just where the hell they at in their own life. Cool. Me, I ain't on that. So it depends. Like, if somebody come to me bogus, then I might, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna handle it a different way. But for the most part, I love the interaction because I see people light bulbs starting to cut on now. And that's what the whole thing is for me. It's just because it's bigger than me. It's just me just doing my part.
Okay. Yeah, but are there any conversations that you feel people still aren't ready to have? There, I mean, because a lot, like I said, we want to get into current events and stuff. Yeah. But are there conversations that, even though a lot of things are being thrown at us, like, it's like, I took somebody, you know, it's like they used to say about Teflon, you throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks. Right. But a lot of things are coming at us, you know, if everything from files being open and wars, is it really a war? Are we really getting our you know, our butts kicked? Are they saying that we're not? Has the you know, fiat collapsed? Or is this getting ready to happen? Is it at the end of the world? People are afraid of everything from Armageddon to the apocalypse. And I don't have a problem with the apocalypse, because I believe we're in an apocalyptic period, because it just means the revealing. Contrary to what it was given to us as, like, to be feared, but we need to know the truth, you know. But
for sure,
what do you see with currently what's going on?
Shout out to my brother Sia, the Duke of Tears. He be saying some shit that just be like, yeah, he be going crazy. And he was saying, like, we in apocalyptic times right now. Because if you think about it, and how I see it, it's like everything that they done taught us in school has been lies. So to me, if you want to step into something, like, shout out to my brother Q from the shop. He was saying, Kush, what we just today, Dr. G, on my soul, just today, he was saying, like, Kush, what we need to do. We was having a conversation in the shop today. He's like, what we need to do, what we need to get back to. And I said, bro, we need to get back into law. I said, because man is the head. I said, the woman, she the helpmate, she the neck. So we the head. So I said, we both are, I got to use the dreaded word. You know, it's the dreaded word, Dr. G, accountability. It's a dreaded word. We both got to start getting accountable and just saying we've been lied to, and stop having such a egotistical mindset when it comes to that. And that take time with a lot of people. Because a lot of people, they hate being corrected. You feel me? Once they get corrected, or once you try to correct them, instantly they gonna get on some, who is you to tell me what you telling me? How you know what I'm saying? I know what I know. It's that right there, that tension. It's that tension of somebody who might know the answer. You don't like either that person or you just don't want to be corrected because you standing on conviction of a belief. So it's gotta take man and woman to start getting accountable for what it is. Like you ask somebody a simple question like, hold up, we plug this charger in. You ask somebody a question like, as much as they talk about the European is oppressing somebody, bro from the Chicago Bulls, he just got waved off the basketball team, and none of these Black Lives Matter people, none of them supporters, none of the NOI, none of the Pan-Africans, the Hebrew Israelites, ain't none of them said nothing. The Black church, they all quiet. Ain't nobody said nothing. I thought y'all was Black Lives supporters. Black Lives Matter. See what I'm saying? See, I told you it was gonna be something. It was gonna be something tonight. See, it was gonna be something because that right there is touchy. So they like,
I'm not aware of that. So can you, for those of us who might not know exactly what happened, because speaking of Chicago, the southern accent, is it that the south side of Chicago? Or
no, this,
I know you.
Yeah, this Chicago. It's south side. This Chicago. Shout out to the east side. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to the east side, east side, out west, up north. Yeah, all that good stuff.
All right.
All that good stuff.
What exactly is going on with the Chicago Bulls player? I'm not sure what happened.
Okay, so bro that played for the Chicago Bulls, I forget his name off top, but he made a comment about the rainbow community. He had a comment like, I just don't agree with it. Pretty much that's all he said. So after he done made that little comment, boom, they didn't waive them now. So now he off the team.
Oh wow.
No. Hey, we gonna go through the progressions and we gonna have meetings and sit downs. Nah, I want none of that. They just straight waived him. But he supposed to have a union. Where the union at? Where the attorneys at? The black attorneys. They ain't nowhere to be found. They ain't talking about nothing. See? So we got to get into that.
Is it because that particular issue is as touchy as it may be? It's one of their I want to say their premier issues. As as quiet as it's kept. The former president Obama, that's probably one of his legacy points. We think a lot of things were done for us, but when you really look back on it, it wasn't. First of all, he did say that he wasn't black anyway.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So he knew he wasn't black, but folks still want to wave that black banner. But he was not. He wasn't promoting the rights of melanated Aboriginal Indigenous people. He was not doing that. He promoted that community, and some of us have a pretty good idea why from what we know about him. But at the same time, I thought maybe under the Trumpster that they were kind of backing up off of that, but apparently it's still holding weight.
Yeah, because to add on to what you're saying about Barack Obama not saying he was a black man, to add on to that, when you talk about what can we do right now, it's like, just to analyze real quick, like fam from I think his name Jaden Ivey from Chicago Bulls, Jaden Ivey, I think that's his name. So the whole time when he got waved off the team, I put a post up today on some, if he's still, I want the Moors out there to analyze the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott case, one of the most prolific Supreme Court cases to ever be put in front of the Supreme Court. If you look at that case about Dred Scott, it's showing you that so-called African Americans, Indians, persons of color, you still subjects to the jurisdiction of the U.S. corporation. So fam that got waved off Chicago Bulls, he's still under the subject jurisdiction of a fiction. So since you property, they could waive you. They can get you out the way because you ain't got no constitutional protected rights. That's how I see it, Dr. G.
Wow. So it's you know, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So
sure.
That's one thing. I mean, we it seems to me that there's like a weaving, like a link between a lot of what seemingly are unrelated situations, but they're somehow all tied together, perhaps with the purpose of keeping people in a state of confusion, further dividing us, and so forth. I mean, because right now, what I see going on that's in the headlines lines of the war is the so-called war, and I just want to call it a so-called war because I'm hearing things about this is what they're showing you, but this is what's really going on. I mean, matter of fact, my neighbor is Egyptian, and his brother, they were both here, went back about 4 months ago to Dubai. His mother's in Dubai too. So I asked him the other day, we were in our yards, and I was asking him, because what you're hearing about the bombing, the Dubai, and the various areas, and he said, well, my mother said she hasn't seen anything or heard anything, but maybe it's closer, like maybe it's somewhere else in Dubai. But the way you hear it, all of these nations close to that area, well, his mother hasn't seen anything or heard anything.
See
where she is in Dubai.
You see that?
I'm like, you know what I mean? So we're getting we're getting a movie.
In real time though.
Everything has been a movie. I mean, when you look back at it, we're getting like I said, the Truman Show, not the Truman, but we're getting what's really going. We're knowing, many of us who have our eyes, and hearts and ears and open. We know that this doesn't feel like it's being presented to us as it's being presented. There's something in our knower that says, no, this isn't it. And this is designed to, discombobulate the folks, to have people in a state of fear and in flux, and have them not paying attention to what's going over here, because we're throwing all this stuff over there while we do some things over here that are going to affect them in the long run. So it's, it is your goal, like hopefully ours, I think ours is a House of Reawakening Mind, is to try to get people focused to the point of reality as it is right now, and to see past the bull crap, that we've been given, and see it for what it really is. Yeah,
because it's what's interesting about it is everything is voluntary on this planet. Every decision that somebody makes in their life is voluntary. Nobody can make anybody do nothing. When you really sit down and just calculate what's really going on from right now to ancient times, every decision that somebody makes is modern. That's one of the most wildest parts about this whole human experience. It's a book out there people should get called Don't Think Like a Human by Chiron. Should tap into that book, because the book goes in and it's breaking things down like we are all divine beings connected to Allah, having this human experience. So in this human experience, each one of us has a divine right to live. Who are these people on this planet that told us that we need to pay a dollar amount to have an experience on this planet? See, when you sit down and just think about it, like what Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, peace be upon him, told us, Moors, if I could get you, if you would just think again, you would just, if you just think, like, who told people we are the ones that's supposed to be paying money, so-called money, which ain't even gold and silver, that we supposed to have an existence on this land right here. But it's voluntary though, Dr. G. That's like somebody saying, like, all right, I'm finna make you get a gun license. All licenses are voluntary contracts. What you need a license for? If the Second Amendment tell you got the right to keep and bear arms, and those rights shall not be infringed. That means can't nobody take them rights away from you. People still walk down there and they get a license. When you get so-called married, a matrimony, what are you getting a license for if you and your common bond partner, if y'all in love or whatever, why you need to bring in a third party to your relationship? It's voluntary. Nobody making you go to the courthouse and say, hey, let me get someone, the reverend, to come over here and sign this paper. And then they tell you by the powers vested in me by the state of. See, they telling you right there, but it's like, yeah, they telling you like, don't do it by the state of. See, all this stuff, Dr. G, is like, it's literally, that's why I titled my book Hidden in Plain Sight. Because it's literally in plain sight. It's happening right in front of us. But it's that's the best place to hide it. Because you ain't gonna think to look there.
So yeah, you know, like the modern European, James Lee wrote a book, several books that I have, but the one that strikes me the most was Nothing is True, Everything is a Lie. And he's quoting a lot, the prophet and others, with this truth. And he's like I said, he's a modern European.
Yeah.
And what we're finding and they're finding out is that not only were we lied to, so were they. Yeah. They were given they were given a status and miseducated as to who they are, when the truth is, everything has been reversed and flipped. People, we've traded places, like the movie said. And I think as they're finding this out, the ones that are sincere are saying, well, damn, I'm not who I thought I was.
Right. They didn't get down on them too. What's crazy, Dr. G, is today, right? Or like in general, when I tell somebody, I say, well, I'm not black, right? Just when you just say that conversation, like, I'm not black, people they honor somebody saying that they are black. But when they say they're not black, you get pushed back. But then I say you believe in white supremacy, right? So-called white supremacy. They say, yeah, I do believe that. I believe that the white man is keeping us down and keeping us jobs and houses and all this shit. And I say, okay, at the same time, has a Caucasian, pale-skinned person ever told you that you was not a Moor? Dead silent. I'm talking about the silence is like deafening. This is how loud their silence is. So I'm like, well, if you say that you believe in white supremacy, how come this so-called white man ain't never told you that you wasn't a Moor? But they said they Indians though. Ooh. They go to the powwows. They be out there with their little pom-poms and hatchets, dancing, doing all kind of weird shit. But then you say that you're not an Indian. There go another thing. I'd be like, fam, Indian was substituted for Moor in 1621. So you really claiming to be something that you ain't again. See, it's like, but it's voluntary though. It's voluntary.
I won't forget. I never forget. And it was recently. I don't know what I was doing, watching some series on on my flash, not my flash drive, on on the drive, the Apple thing, the Amazon stick. Yeah. And it was like a series of vignettes. And I'll never forget. And it was last year, but I remember seeing a story about Bass Reeves, right? And I grew up in the days of the Lone Ranger and Tonto. And in this particular segment in this movie, in the series, Bass Reeves' scout friend, right, met up with these people. It was like a time travel thing. And these people, like, say, came from 2025 or went back into 18, whatever, when that was. And when he met Bass Reeves, I don't even want to call him sidekick, because that's what they called in the Lone Ranger and Tonto sidekicks. He said something to him. He called him Tonto. And the guy said, he called me a fool. Because apparently the whole Lone Ranger and Tonto story was patterned after Bass Reeves. the
Mm.
lawman Bass Reeves, who was a Moor. Now he had lived among the Redskin people, will and so forth, but these two worked together. They were friends, and so they took their life and made a story, and with a non-melanated man with a mask, apparently Bass Reeves used to do all kinds of he could change the way he looked. He, impersonate a minister. He'd do all these different things in order to get to whatever criminal he was trying to apprehend.
Right.
So he was a masked man. Who is that
Right.
masked man? So they took his life, and then they had us calling, Tonto. Tonto means fool. It means stupid. So all this time I'm looking back in the day at we're going to Lone Ranger and Tonto, so we're on the Lone Ranger and the fool. And the guy, he called me a fool because the brother went back in time and he thought he was honoring him. He's like, you disrespecting me. He called me a fool, right?
Calling the fool.
And so it's like we've been given all of these what they say, connotative, linguistic meanings of things, and folks don't want, like, when I get up in the morning and I'm in the gym doing my live stream on the treadmill. I was trying to open up on Facebook, and I'm on the treadmill, and I'll say Grand Rising, and people always say good morning. So I'm giving them, I'm moving, I'm forgetting how much time I'm going because I'm giving them an so-called knowledge that they don't know. The reason why we don't say good morning, and I start talking about etymology and different ways that words are spelled, but the meaning is what's important. So you can't, you're spelling, you're casting a spell. So I'm on there, they trying to see me, as an older lady on a treadmill, and I'm taking the opportunity to try to drop some information, some knowledge, so that, we don't say good morning, because when you think about it, what's good about morning?
Yeah.
That's
that etymology though. See, what you right though, because when you speaking about etymology, like when you speaking about etymology, you speaking about the origin of all these words that we speak out of our mouths. So I started like breaking stuff down. Like when I was cooking up Hidden in Plain Sight, this book, I was thinking about, we are so powerful as beings. I think that we have fallen deeper into a place where we take our powers for granted. We don't realize that the powers that come out of because first was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. So it says in the Circle 7, as well as in the Holy Bible, that we are made in the image and likeness of God, Allah. So if you think about, if we, men and women, are made in the likeness and the image of God, then we see ourselves as our creator. And it says, ye are all gods. So since ye are all gods, and everything started in 7 days, not with a hammer, not with a chisel, not with a power drill, not with a bulldozer, everything started and got put on this planet by words. So the very words that come out our mouth are so amazing. They have the power of life and they can destroy. So since the words that come out our mouth as God beings can create life or destroy life, ultimately, what does that have to do with the conditions right now? It's voluntary consent. You can choose life with abracadabra as you speak, as you create, or you can destroy life as you speak, as you destroy. So it's really, the power is us. We are the force. It's not power to the people. The people are the power, but the people have to start being accountable. Myself with that, being accountable at the words that we say out our mouths, because they really build and destroy. They really create and destroy. So getting in tune with etymology, you got to go like, why were we made in the likeness and the image of God Allah to use a word to describe us like black? And he never identified Yahushua as black. So once that hit me, why I was like, if the creator Allah never called his son a black man, It's nowhere in the scripture. It's nowhere in the Quran. If God Allah never called his own son black, why would I identify myself with such a word? And then when you look at etymology, you look at the word means pale, colorless, albino. Last time I checked, the definition of an American said copper complexion.
Yeah.
So we don't even fit the description of pale. We don't even fit. Only people that fit that description is albinos. We ain't albinos. I don't care if you are olive complexion, copper, bronze, mahogany. It's many different shades that we don't even fit a pale description. So why embrace something that we don't even match? Because look, when you learning your colors, right? Then like Dr. G, when you was learning or you see a grandbaby and you teaching the grandbaby their colors, do you ever look at the color white and associate that color white with a Caucasian?
No.
Never. Do you ever look at yourself when you teaching like a 1 or 2-year-old the color black and be like, this what I look like. This what our people look like?
No.
Never. We never do that. But it's the programming though that get us in that mind like, well, we got to snap out of that. We got to break that shit. And that shit breaking right now. It's breaking right now. All these Moors on here right now that's getting in tune is breaking right now because when you speak it, you put an energy, frequency, and vibration onto this planet and above. So it's coming down on us like, hey, look, them Moors on that planet, they starting to shift. That's why the Great Awakening is on. And it's crazy because we on Reawakening the Minds right now. You feel me?
We actually are not on Reawakening Minds. We're on Dr. G Always Glitching, but the umbrella is over us of House of Reawakening
sure.
Minds.
Islam.
Yeah. But
Islam.
So it's so there's so many things. And I'm not sure if I've heard you talk about this. So let me broach this because we're having a conversation, right?
For sure.
There's a brother that's on. He said a conversation. Yeah, but we haven't one of them things. But do you think in terms of, because this is coming out a lot of folks now, or if you turn on the YouTube, all you see are these sightings and so-called extra terrestrial beings and all of this, so-called black aliens and this, that, and the other. What is your take on that? Because I have a perspective that's probably has shifted of late. You get downloads, and as I've been getting downloads with regard to these things, I see things totally different than what I thought. When we're looking at Star Trek and things like that. Do you see any connection with the so-called disclosure and our people that maybe are? And another thing is, when I think about extraterrestrial now, I think about terrestrial means Earth, right?
Right.
Earthy. So when we're learning about more like Antarctica and places like that, and that there is maybe land masses outside of where we are, that extraterrestrial and outer space could be more out like this instead of up like that.
Right. To add on to that, what I think about it is there's a pyramid. If people do the research out there, there's pyramids in Antarctica right now. You could Google it right now that there are actual pyramids in Antarctica. So when you do the etymology, how we talking about etymology from the word pyramid, the word pyramid is M-E-R. M-E-R is more. M-O-R is more. M-I-R is more. It's just different ways to spell the same word. So if a pyramid or pyramids is out there in Antarctica, that lets you know, why would our people not have been there? Why would we build something in Antarctica, which is, they Google it. I wish you could screen share right now, Dr. G. The pyramids in Antarctica. It's pyramids up there right now. Pyramid means more. So why would there be pyramids there on that geographic landmass if we didn't step foot on that landmass? They let you know we've been everywhere on this planet and off the planet. But see, then when you talk about that, that's like speaking about like Midgard and stuff like that. That's where they get all this stuff from, like Thor, and they get all these like this is where they get all these mythological type beings from, like Zeus and all them. But when you speaking just strictly about like aliens, yeah, because that's it. That's his book. Do I got it on me right now? It's around here somewhere. I got this book. Shout out to the bro Wasia. That is in this book. It gives detail about the Man in Black, right? Everybody's seen the movies of Will Smith and all them, and Tommy Lee Jones, and all that about the Man in Black. Whole time in the book, it say that the people who actually are the Man in Black, they are described as having skin that was brown.
Okay.
There it is right there. So if the people is described as having complexion as brownish or copperish, or like in the movie, like a movie reference. Remember in the movie Malcolm X with Denzel? And in the cell, they said that he was visited by a being where they think it was Elijah Muhammad. In his autobiography, though, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, y'all might know him as Malcolm X, he's describing a being that he saw. He said it was illuminated. And the being that he saw had skin like his in his jail cell. But see, they took that out of the movie, though. They ain't put that in the movie, though. This is Malcolm X, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz's autobiography. This is what he wrote down and said he seen in his jail cell. Come on, man. Why would he say the being that he saw in his jail cell had skin like his? And he didn't say nothing about no Elijah Muhammad either. That's cap. See? Yeah. Islam.
Yeah, so, I mean, because a lot of people are getting, and the reason why I say that is because, like I said, there's multiple things going on, and that happens to be, we're seeing that the alleged recent incident of the guy that was kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build the underground city. I saw a movie also talking about the war. It's a BBC movie, and you know, on those if you have the Amazon sticks or whatever, sometimes you can see things that you won't get to see other places. And this was called The War Between Land and Sea. That's an excellent. It's about maybe about eight episodes. The War Between Land and Sea, and they're showing these aqua type beings that end up coming on land, you know, and I guess squaring up against the humans, you know, the humans, because of how they're destroying the sea and so forth. But it also, you saw a taste of that in the last version of what was it, the Wakanda, the last movie. Now you see these and you know, anything that they've been hiding from us, they you know, they really put it in a movie.
That's a fact.
They're putting it in movies. And
they should pick up. Yeah, for sure. They should pick up if they want a book on that, like with dolphins and whatnot. It's a book. It's this wild book called what is it? Atlantis Rising. Is it Atlantis Rising? Hold up, let me get it.
Yeah, well, listen, make sure you're sharing, liking, and sharing this live stream. Let's get the numbers up. Appreciate y'all that are here, but let's get those numbers up.
This book right here.
Okay, Atlantis Rising.
Yeah.
The Struggle of Darkness and Light. Okay. And
Ether. Dr. G. Ether. I'm talking about crazy. Where Well, you like, man, look, they go into like when you talking about the dolphins and the crystal skulls and all that, because they really do put it in the movies, though.
Right,
They
do.
really put it in the movies. So
So
I seen more put up there. Yeah, pyramid does mean fire in the middle. Who you think the fire in the middle is? We the fire in the middle. We are all of the elements. Fire, air, water, earth, ether. We are all of the elements. That's why we got 5 components to us. 5 natural components make up the universal being, which is more light. And then when you was talking about Dr. G, when you was talking about like etymology, when you talk about the light means more. When the creator Allah said, let there be light, the creator never said, let there be darkness, because it was already darkness. The creator said, let there be light. Them the first words. So the first words is let there be light, let there be more. Then the light appeared. Then life appeared. You feel me, Dr. G? That's just really what it is, though.
Yeah, so from a standpoint, from your perspective, what is going on with regard to let's slip into the fact that we're hearing that perhaps a lot of the people we thought were, our heroes and sheroes and so-called movie stars, and things like that, we're finding out that perhaps these people may be clones, and they may be, may not be real, or they maybe have been engaged in some nefarious, activities over the years with children and so forth. And these folks look like us. Some of the folks that we're hearing about look like us. I mean, we can't negate that. We can't overlook that.
Right.
That fact. That is.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. G.
No, I'm just saying, what is your take on that? I mean, how should we process that? How should we process the fact that, folks that look like us may have been engaged in, diabolic, demonic, nefarious activities. And, these are folks that we've idolized. Some of them are maybe are sports stars or actors and actresses, or the so-called politicians and so forth, people that we put up on pedestals. And once you respond to that, I have something that I got to download about. So I want you to,
Okay. Boom. Well, the people, it's always been our own people that's been here first. That's something that we got to come to grips with. There hasn't been any other people that's been here before us, as far as on Midgard, on this planet. Mm-hmm. So it's always been us. It's always been a struggle of, it's not always been, but once it kicked off, where it was positive and negative, I say that for better understanding. So you have a positive force and you got a negative force. The people who are doing negative things and nefarious things with pedophilia and all these different satanic type things and activities, these people worship a dark force. Let's just say a dark force. Mm-hmm. Just like the Jedi and Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader and the Dark Force. Okay, these people, they used to be positive. Like before Darth Vader turned into Darth Vader, he was Anakin, and he was all about the light and with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Look at it like that. He was on the positive side. Now, when he had that tragedy with his girl, he flipped. He got turned inside out by a dark one. Let's say a dark one, somebody who worships the dark force. Turned him out, right? Had him on wrath, evil, vengeance, revenge. Had him on murder mode. So once these people who go on murder mode, how they can disguise it is they have the perfect camouflage. Because they look just like us. That's the perfect camouflage that these people have going for them. They look just like we do. How can you tell the difference? You got to use your spiritual discernment. You got to tap into the unseen world. See, it's a seen and it's an unseen world. A lot of people have not been educated into tapping into that divine. That's why Noble Drew Ali said this is a divine and national movement. You got to start getting your divinity up as far as the unseen world. The unseen world is where these people hide at. They hide in plain sight because they look just like us, but they hold vampires though. They just look like regular people. They're really creatures, but they look like regular people. They look like they go to work, they come home, they a coach, they a teacher, they a senator, they a congressman, they a postal worker. You feel me? They look like regular people, but their spirit though, you can't wash it off. They always show themselves if you know what to look for. That's why you gotta pay attention to not just by how somebody look. You gotta pay attention to their actions. What's their character like? What principles they stand for? They got standards. Will they take that bag? If somebody come with that bread, will they take that bread to jeopardize their integrity? Got to pay attention to all them type of things because they always leave breadcrumbs on who they really is. But see, they got the perfect camouflage to wear the mask up because they copper complexion, they dark complexion, they olive complexion. So you're not thinking like, nah, they wouldn't do this to us. Yeah, they would, because they want that power. They want that control. So yeah, they'll get down. And that's what the war really been. The war has been a seen and the unseen world, like a world war. From the spiritual world to the national world. It's an unseen battle. That's what has really been happening. But we winning though.
I hope so. And no, as I was saying, I had this download, and back in 2010, some of you might recall there was a series that came on called The Event. It was 22 episodes, and I got intrigued by it. And in that series, to make just to synopsize it, if that's such a word, these extraterrestrials had crashed or landed on Earth and had been captured. Some of them had allowed themselves to be captured, while the others of them went out, say it happened in the 40s or 50s, and they went out into the world. They just blended in. They, now they talk about all these people might be reptilians. So they blended in with society. The problem was they didn't grow old, right? And so it was hard for them as they got into relationships and stuff. If they got with humans, one of the males got with a female, she would grow old, but he wouldn't, because he was one of them looking like one of us, right? And in this movie, they had a bunch of them held in a place they call Inastranka, which is like an Antarctica type place, but they didn't get all of them because the rest of them were all out in the world. And so download was that, all of these people that they're showing, oh, this guy looks like Jay-Z from back in the day, and this guy looks like, this woman looks like. I just download to tell me when they did that movie, The Event, they were telling the truth. And that a lot of these people that we think are coming back actually have never left, if that makes sense. They just blended into different stages of society, and they're the same people. So if it looks like Jay-Z, or if it looks like Eddie Murphy from back in the 40s, or it looks like Andrew Jackson, and then now he's an actor, it's the same energy, it's the same being, because they didn't grow old. And I think they put this movie on, and it was during the time when Obama was president. They had in this movie, they had a melanated president, right? And the wife turned out to be one of them, because they were trying to detect. Now they're going to discover who's one of those and who's really whatever. And the way the series ended, the first first season, it was 22 episodes, and the way it ended, this planet was coming towards Earth and it was on fire, and her son was going, "Mommy, what is it?" And she looks up and she says, "Home." Because it was, her planet was dying, and that's why they had come so many years ago to try to see if they could inhabit Earth. But the ones that went out in society they blended in, but they never grew old. And the other ones never grew old, that they were holding in a place that looked like Antarctica. Tell me that doesn't mirror why why people, they just go through different dispensations of time, but they're the same beings.
Same beings though. But these beings that you're speaking about, because if we take it and we look at that, right? We analyze that, we all have these abilities where we are really immortals because we are having this spiritual experience. So we never truly really die. So, but again, these beings, they worship a dark force. So since they worship the dark force, they on the other side. They just use the knowledge that's neutral for dark activities, for demonic activities. We use it for positive activities, for life, growth, development, prosperity, etc. They're using it for death and murder and the immortality to they think that, like, the ones who using these abilities for dark purposes, they think by hurting children that they're going to hurt Allah. This is the type of maniac mentality that these things got. They think when they hurt children, because children are closer to Allah because they're pure, they're so innocent. They think by maiming and doing rituals with children, they're hurting Allah because they want to bring forth a creature that they worship. But they can't win, though. They can't win. They really already defeated. Everything right now is just playing out because Allah is so merciful. Allah is giving everybody an opportunity to tap back into the higher self. This is how merciful Allah is. Even Dr. G, with our people who are under deep psychological programming, propaganda, Allah is so merciful that Allah allows us to have free will. So with that free will comes responsibility, though. But since our people have forgotten to being responsible for the words that we say, our people are saying that we are dead. But at the same time, Allah still grants us life. That lets you know, if the people themselves are calling themselves dead and Allah still grants them life, how much mercy is it, Dr. G?
Oh, it's extended extension mercy.
Crazy. The people identify themselves as dead and Allah still give them life to make a choice to turn it all the way around. Because the free will. Because it's voluntary. It's voluntary. You know?
Yeah. But it's just so many, like I said, it's just so many things. I mean, people are, when you get some shocking information. I had a conversation, y'all, I'm just sharing this. I had a conversation with somebody high up in this, highly connected. And this is a very, 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 very recent conversation, very connected. And we were talking about a business. We were talking about energy savings and stuff like that. Right. But somehow we got to talking, you know how everybody now is trying to think in terms of not eating GMO, you don't want the non-GMO foods. You want to make sure your seeds are hybrid and not hybrid or heirloom and stuff like that. You don't want, you don't want to eat things that have been genetically modified and so forth. Right. And I was talking to this individual about, they told me about this cooperation between these two big companies, Dow and DuPont, and they're consultants with them. And they said one of them makes the seeds, every seed that's in the United States, and the other one makes the crop protection. So, we talk about don't spray, but one is okay. And he said to me, I said, well, not the heirloom seeds. He said, and he said, and he made a point. He said, every seed.
Mm.
I said, what do you mean? He said, every seed that is in American that you got, the ones you buy in the packs, they say heirloom, ones you buy. He said, every seed is made by these people. And I'm not going to name them. I do know the names, but he told me, I said, so you mean to tell me we go and buy an heirloom? We think we're getting heirloom seeds. And he said, he said, they're hybrids. And this company, these two companies collaborating, the one side of them creates every seed, whether it's regular, so-called heirloom or what. And I was thinking, how many other things do they lie to us about? So folks are running out buying these so-called, they think we're buying good seeds. He said, no, they make every seed. And I kept asking him. He said, no, every seed.
Yeah.
Every seed.
Everything. But that go to what Noble Drew Ali was saying, Dr. G, when he was saying that the food here is poison.
He said you get their food outside the country. That's what he told me.
That let you know how strong we are, Dr. G. That lets you know how divinely built we are, that we can be given poison for food. And I'm talking about from a shorty. They was giving us radioactive candy as shorties with Red 40. They was giving us all this Blue 6 and all that as candy. Quarter water juices and all that. We was drinking and eating candy and all that, full of all this radioactive substances. And we so divinely built, they still can't take us out. That lets you know, like, hey, listen, man. They used to, Dr. G, I threw a post up about Incredible Hulk, right? Incredible Hulk, dude allegedly took gamma radiation to the face, to his whole body. And I look at that like a straight spinoff of us. Because if you were feeding us and still do feed us radiation and we still prosper, what you think will happen if our people realized that and was like, listen, I'm finna use the power that we got divinely for higher purposes and connect this with law and history and then analyze the architecture that's outside. See, that's another thing they don't talk about, Dr. G. They don't talk about landmarks. The landmarks, the historic landmarks, like I'm on a generational run right now. The landmarks that's outside all in the world are all Moorish design. All of them, though. If you look at the landmarks and you Google each city, country to country, town for town, all of them got Moorish architecture revival. Like you could pull one up right now of any so-called city you want to right now. Just put in there, does California have Moorish revival? Chicago or something like that. Any city. All of them got Moorish revival. So that means Moors we couldn't have just been over there in North Africa. We would have to have been right here for ages, for millenniums. You know what I'm saying? Because you got fam them, Perry, the Perry brother, the Perry that's down there in South Carolina, his bloodline so old, it's some of the oldest blood traced back to the beginning.
In the world, yeah.
Exactly. And he from South Carolina. That's in the Americas. And then you got Henrietta, her bloodline traced back is some of the oldest blood ever traced. So you got the Moorish woman and you got the Moorish man. Bind it together, and they got the oldest blood that's ever been recorded. And where they happen to be from? America. They from America, not Africa, but from over here. See, they still can't find no slave boats.
Speaking of slave boats, your book.
What's up?
Tell us what the subtitle, The Parable of the Moorish Sardine. Tell us about that.
What?
Because I think it must be that picture of the
Actually, that was Khalifa Media, my publisher. That was her design.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she came up with that all that artwork that's on that cover. She came up with that. But I told her it was dope. It was raw though. I'm like, I like that shit raw as hell. That shit raw because you got the slave ship and then you got the faces on top of them. And then you looking at it like all they have ever shown us is a picture of a boat. In no museum, they got no boat in there. But they got a T-Rex bone in there. They got a pterodactyl bone in there. So why would I believe y'all story though? Come on, man. So I told
because basically that's what we look. It looks like a can of sardines have been opened up, and you're gonna tell us that that's how we. And then the further add further insult to injury, they come up with this. We found these pieces of wood called from a ship called Clotilla, and that I'm like, oh, seriously, really?
Yeah. How is that? How is it no such fish known in the world as a sardine? But they put them in a can. What they do?
Make them.
Yeah, because they make them. They chop the heads off of all the small fish and they throw them all in one can. So what's crazy is the correlation between the small fish and human beings. With the small fish, they cut their heads off and cut their tails off. So they actually denationalized them. Where's that right here? So what they doing is the same thing as they doing right here. Where's it up? Right there. So what they doing is they're cutting the head off the fish, which is exactly what they did with our people when they denationalized us to black, Negro, or colored, or Indian. So what they did when they cut that capstone pyramid tip off is the same thing they did with the fish. They stuffed them all into a can and they slapped a label on them. Black, Negro, colored. They call them sardines. But a sardine doesn't exist in nature.
There's no fish called
So that's how
I did a graphic on that one time. It's probably on my phone somewhere, but I did something about that, that the fact that sardines were only sardines when they put them in the can. After they put them in the can.
They put them in the can.
Made them that. Yeah.
They made them that.
Yeah,
they made them that. So how we gonna be black, Negro, or colored, or Indian, or Native American if that's not what Allah, God, named us? That's man saying that y'all that our people is that. We can never be that. First of all, how you gonna call yourself a name that don't match the land underneath your feet? Now, how you finna be West Indian? And West is to the left. So how you gonna be from a part of the land that's on the eastern seaboard of America, and you saying you West Indian, but you're on the eastern seaboard? That shit just don't make no sense. Wouldn't you be East Indian? And then whole time India is over there in Asia. And they don't even, do they speak Indian? Hell no. So if they don't speak Indian and they from India, why would people over here call themselves Indians? It just don't make no sense. Then I went further, Dr. G. I went into how you got New York, right? And California. They say California used to be an island. They say it used to be an island. This is what they say. It used to be an island over there, or peninsula, as California, right? With Queen Califia and all that, right? Now you go to the East Coast and you say New York is a mainland and it has islands. So if New York is a mainland and it has islands, Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, those are different islands, but they're islands to a mainland. The mainland is New York. So do people out there in New York identify as different things because they're from different islands? Think about it. they still Moorish Americans though. So that's like the people that's down there in Haiti, Trinidad, Tobago, the Bahamas, and you know what I'm saying, Dominican Republic, the Boricuans and all that out there. That's like saying that they from a different place, but they still a part of the same landmass, which is the Americas. They out there thinking that they ain't from here. It'll be the same thing as the people out there in Brooklyn, the people out there in Coney Island, Manhattan, the Bronx. It'll be in Staten Island. So how is Staten Island and Rikers Island, how they still call themselves Americans, but they from islands though. That's connected to New York. Make it make sense. Islam.
It baffles me of the things that we don't question. You know what I mean? The things that we take for granted, we take it just the way it's given without question, and we've done that. But I believe that's part of the conditioning that we, especially those that, my era, growing up in the 50s and 60s, and even beyond. But coming from there forward, I can see that the more things change, the more things stay the same. It took me until I was in my 50s to, have an awakening experience and to turn around and go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. But it never made sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It never made sense, but I didn't, we don't see it that way because, like I said, the scales are on our, metaphysically and spiritually, we have scales on our eyes, on our hearts, our minds, and we haven't seen. But what we're in, I believe, is an era of the tearing, or they call it the renting of the veil. And when the veil opens, you're like, you see. And if you're like me, you kind of feel a little stupid because it was there all the time.
It's just the lifting of the veil right now. Really, right now, we should be welcoming what's happening right now, because the times that are happening right now have never happened like it has before. Like it's really happening in real time in our lifetime. We're literally watching the change of the guard right now in real time, but it looks like everything is complete chaos, when in reality, like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke on, everything is returning into the hands of the Asiatics. So all these different corporations are crumbling down because they're supposed to fall. It's just we do not have to participate in the fictitious destruction. Let the fiction die. It has to die. So we've been conditioned to give the fiction U.S. corporation company, private company, life. We don't got to give it life no more. The vampire can't live without the blood. We're the blood. We the ones that's been powering the machine. Stop being batteries for this slave system. Just unplug. That's it. That's really it.
Yeah, we do. And I also think for myself personally, not only unplug as a battery, but even the social media feeding that we get. Not everything is true or good, and it keeps you never get to wind down so that your mind can truly process and filter out those things that we need to not be given attention to, and to focus on the manifestation and the creation of what we want. Because if you got all this stuff coming in, it's a distraction and it's a deterrent to growth and development. This new channel is called Dr. G Always Glitching, and like I said, glitch is an acronym that goes for grow, learn, inspire, teach, create, heal. In spite of what is happening in the matrix, if you're glitching, if you're growing, learning, inspiring, teaching, creating, heal, not necessarily all at the same time, but somewhere in there, in that process, that's where you are. You're not stuck on stupid. You don't have your head, in the sand, and you're not up in the clouds, but you're right here in reality, and you realize, like you said, who you are. We are gods.
Yeah.
right? And if I'm God, and God's in me, if the greater one's living on the inside of me, then I got power over things that seemingly have power over me. That's the fiction.
Yeah.
What am I going to believe? Either I'm a God or I'm a subject.
That part. Are you a
And
God?
then
All right. Are you a God or are you a subject too? Are you a God or a subject too? Are you a generator, operator, and destroyer, or are you a slave? That's it. Because you can't serve two masters. You can't say you a God, and then this person over here, this creature over here tells you, nah, you have to be a subject to me. No, sir. You got to step in. You know what it is, Dr. G? It's kind of like taking a leap of faith. Because a lot of our people deliberately have been conditioned throughout these years and manipulated and miseducated. Facts. We know this. But the accountability is I have to question everything. I got to start taking an approach like I need to question everything that I ever been taught. So it takes a leap of faith to get to that mental mindset. Well, I have to question everything. They told us that we was black and colored, yet and still, Yahushua never wrote no scripture down describing himself as that. So that is destroyed. They told us that we came over here, but yet and still, why is there so many Africans popping up over here in the Americas today? They pop up over here for education. They pop up over here for medicine. They pop up over here for jobs. They pop up over here for a come up. But if we got stolen from over there, why y'all coming from over there over here? And why y'all ain't never sent for no help for us? But y'all want to copy and be like us, though. How we talk, how we dance, how we dress, everything. Because we the center. We the center of it all. The Americas is the center. And that's what they don't want us to realize. They want us to come over here and be on some subservient type mentality where we thinking like we ain't the ones. Meanwhile, everybody come over here to our land, the land of milk and honey, to get a come up. They want to start a business over here. Why you don't go on your own land and start a business? Why you got to kick it off over here? Obviously, it got to be something over here. Even in the so-called poor black communities, why these foreigners steady coming in here, opening up a hair salon, a hair store? They open up a little shop over there. Why? If the community is so poor, why they keep popping up in there then? Because they know we the money. We not recognizing our value within ourselves and saying, I'm gonna spend with my own people. Mm-hmm. Instead of being like, nah, I'm finna trick it off, or I'm finna spend with a foreigner. Nah, the mentality is shifting now. So we're gonna start breaking bread with our own people that's on business, not with people that's playing games, but people that's on business and want to actually grow and develop. That part. That's what time it is right now.
Yeah, we do. We need to come together. You know, one of the things I see as a deterrent for successful rebuilding of the greatness of our people is that we've got to get away from our divisive spirit. We have to get away from, knocking each other, tearing each other down for whatever reason. And that, to me, that's called self-destruction.
Yeah,
we are very self-destructive when it comes to that. I don't know, for the 6 years almost that I've been on here doing this, to see so much and I see some folks saying it in the chat, haters. But we realize, like I say, haters gonna hate. But in spite of that, we need to build and show, we even have to show love to the haters. And because maybe they come so that we can show more love to each other. The ones of us, maybe the haters is small in number compared to the ones of us that really want to see progress, that really want to get, be that nation, that we once were, that greatness, and rebuild. Yeah. But the folks that are, I don't know who's a dirty Moor versus a clean one, but I know that there's a lot of hate. You know what I mean?
I
know there's a lot of discord. a lot of discord. And
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of hate. It's a lot of hate. But the barometer is if they standing on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's the barometer. That's how because people get caught up in being like, well, you can't judge me. The scriptures never say in the Quran or the Holy Bible, it says that thou shalt not judge. It says to judge righteously or to judge right. So I'm not going to judge based off somebody's appearance. I'm going to judge based off their actions, their deeds. I'm not going to judge based off of I got faith in XYZ. Nah, I'm finna go off what actions have you done to actually change something for the positive? That part. It's no more that we just gonna just let somebody just slide no more. See, the Great Awakening is killing all that. That frequency now is dying out. That shit really dead. Nah, it's what are you showing right now in real time? That's why I spoke about fam them Jaden Ivey from the Chicago Bulls. How he didn't got done dirty by the Bulls, Dr. G. How they did fam so dirty, they didn't extradite him off the squad. And now ain't none of these black organizations, NAACP, super quiet. Black Lives Matter, dead quiet. All these organizations, Pan-Africans, I don't hear them. All these black attorneys, ain't none of them came to his rescue. But they so-called black though. What happened to all that help a brother out shit? Where they at? They ain't nowhere to be found. But see, they out here promoting. They might get somebody to pop out and be on some, yeah, you know, we're going to have a sit down with the Bulls, but ain't nothing finna change, though. How come ain't none of these pastors popped out and said nothing about fam? Jay Knight. None. Because they all taking that bread. See? Or either that, or they got another motive, and they like, listen, it don't fit our criteria. So a so-called white man didn't do nothing. So this was just a sports team. Man, we know what it is, man. We know what it is, man. They got y'all quiet. They done bought y'all off. We know what it is, Dr. G. We know what it is. And they still trying to throw that, that gender war out. That shit dying out too now. Because I'm so glad I'm starting to see Moorish women online. They starting to take the weave off. They starting to take the weave out their hair. I'm so happy to see that shit. Take that goddamn weave out your head. Let your hair breathe. Let the sun touch your scalp, your crown. I'm so happy to see that. And I'm like, all right. Obviously, something is changing. They starting to see like, all right, look. Take the weave out. Let your damn hair breathe. Take the chemicals off your faces, you know, but they still trying to push this divisive man versus women argument. That man and women are divinely created, equally in divinity. Divinity, Dr. G. Man and women are created equally in divinity. We both need each other divinely. We are incapable of operating without each other on a divine level or a physical level. Okay, how we gonna operate physically or spiritually without each other? Eventually, we gonna need each other because it's the divine balance, and that's the restoration right now that's happening. Everybody got to get accountable though, and it's the ones who doing the work. You starting to see it because I'm seeing it online though and in person.
Yeah, some folks are really, really about it, you know, and others, you know, just got a lot of, you know, chatter, but people can see through, you know, the real versus, you know, if you're just being surface level and you just want to get, you know, clicks and likes, that's one thing. But if you're serious about, you know, getting information out to the people, and I'm not saying that everything we say is always 100% right, but if your motivation is to help people, you know, come from here to here to come up, then, you know, you'll be given the divine downloads and the information to share with people. You know, if you're not about, unity and uplifting, fallen humanity, then, you just be, spreading the BS like like the rest of the folks. And people know the difference. Folks know the difference. It's the, what they talk about. It's the content of one's character when they doing what they doing. If I never got a penny and I've never gotten paid, so to speak, for doing this. And yes, sometimes you get tired. And yes, sometimes you feel frustrated because, you don't see the progress that you hope to see, but you got to do it, because even if one individual can come up as a result of something that gets shared over on this platform, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and that's all it is about, because it's gonna take each one of us, though, men and women collectively, to get on business. And as far as getting on business, like I said, you gotta stand for principles. You gotta stand for something. Somebody asks you what you stand for. I stand for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So those are 5 universal principles. So each more that's actually upright, independent, and stand on something fearless, they ain't got a problem. See, the thing is, when you associating yourself with a lack of identity, somebody could prey on you. Prey. They could prey on you. Not prey on you like in the church, but they could prey on you like an animal or a beast. So these people have been preying on us because of a lack of identity. So when you spoke up, Dr. G, just now about character, that's what nationality is. Nationality is the quality of character of a person belonging to a nation. Nationality links us back to quality character, because in order to have character, you got to have positive characteristics. That's what MORE stands for.
Yeah,
you gotta have it.
And here's the other thing. Folks need to, to understand that no one of us, including, our master teacher, Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey, none of us have all of the answers. And none of us are going to always get it 100% right. Right. But again, I say, if your motivation is honest and integral, that is what gets you over. That's what endears you to people. But for people to put people up on pedestals for perfection, you're setting yourself up for a letdown, and you're making it hard on people to freely give, because if you think that you always got to be given to these people 100% when you can't even give 100% to yourself, then it doesn't work that way. And folks need to understand that. People like yourself, people like me, and others that are out here on this social, putting ourselves out here, so to speak, making ourselves targets, because it doesn't go without notice from these, so-called outside forces that don't want to hear or see unity.
Right.
And so look at the ones that are leading the charge, and you're targeted.
Yeah.
But if you're called to do something, you're gonna do it, because it's deeper than what the people think you're doing it for.
That's a fact. That's a big fact, because it's the seen and it's the unseen. A lot of the work that people are doing, it can be unseen, but it still has value, because it's work that needs to be done. And the work that a lot of Moors behind the scene are doing, just by them in their own mindset, because it's a collective effort of energy, frequency, and vibration. So just by Moors out there just tapping in to their self, when they walk around and they go around people, they are walking temples. So their energy, frequency, and vibration, it goes outside of them into whatever room they step in. And that's what's super necessary for right now, because it's not just going to take an individual or individuals. It's going to take a collective effort of Moors all tapping into the higher self. And I see Moors all around tapping in, and they light bulbs is popping on. And that's what's needed. That's the energy, frequency, and vibration. That's the shift that's on right now. And just to add on something, Dr. G, I want to put something out there for I know it's a lot of Moorish women out there, And I see online every day they want us to clash so much with each other. I wanna just share this. Can I share this real quick?
Sure.
This is from the book Isonomy. I just want to share this real fast. It say, the true and most effective key to conquering a nation of people is to control the woman and her womb. All advanced military attacks are based in this fact. This is not taught to the common soldiers in military organizations. They are just given instructions to attack women and children under the guises of necessity. He who controls the woman controls the nation. The attack. Go ahead, Dr. G.
Oh, you're right. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the attack is on the Moorish woman as well as on the Moorish man and the children. But see, the more the people that do these dark force activities, they know if they attack the Moorish woman, they know if they could turn the Moorish woman against the man, the husband man, it will affect generations. And the people that's doing these dark force activities understand. That's why they came out with all these things back in the 60s and the 70s where they was like remove the husband from the house, remove the man from the house, because they knew in the future how it would devastate the nuclear family if you don't have the balance of the father inside of the home. And it's a long game. It's not a short game. They not playing for a short game. They playing the long game. It's chess. So when they like take the father out the house, they knew years from now the damage and the destruction will start increasing as what we see today. And this is because the father and the mother are not collectively working together, not like they used to be, to balance out the family. So the son or the daughter could get instructions from the father and the mother, because it took the father and the mother to create that baby. So you can't have the baby is pretty much missing the whole other side of their own creation from the father and or the mother, but you got to have both though. So they like the defeat and enslavement of the Moabite Moorish nation in the Western Hemisphere is the most secret history in all public literature. Both the history and culture is kept from public consciousness as much as possible by the ruling colonial states and their European citizen subjects. This status quo condition of social rot is agreed to and supported by many Moabite Moors, the sellouts, who use, maintain, and cherish the Black and Negro labels and European names, titles, and positions awarded to them for their service. They sell the blood of their own people for a few pieces of silver.
Yeah, so, if you go back and look into recent history, you will find the concerted effort to, like you said, destroy the family. I know at a conference I went to, I was the director of housing for my city. And I remember attending a conference where they admitted HUD, at a HUD conference, Housing and Urban Development, how urban development came through and how, the various things that they did, the redlining and the separation, giving the women the welfare without the man in the house and all these things, that they almost admitted that those were concerted efforts to destroy so-called Black families, because they didn't call us melanated, more Black families. They did it. The whole thing was given, and the New Deal was to take away the power that we had as together. Because if you look way back in the 40s and 50s, our families were strong. They raised, sometimes they had 15, 20 children, and strong, if you will, so-called Black families developed and went on to do great things and seemingly had nothing, but they had more than a lot of families, so-called families, have today, because they were together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were admitting that they did this. Now, they didn't give the reason why, but they recognized the devastation of what they did would cause. They knew the cost, and they knew who was actually going to suffer as a result of it.
Yeah. And look what's happening now. Look how many people are profiting and have profited trillions of dollars based off abortions, based off just abortions alone. Look how many people have profited off it. Just the diabolical type time that they've been on. Look at all these places that they place these Planned Parenthood places at. They all in the so-called Black communities. And they are coercing the women to be like, you can have it all because we gonna put you in position and we gonna flood social media where you don't need the guy that you made the baby with. So you gonna be champion and cheerleaded on with because you got a baby on the way. Whole time the baby ain't got the other half, the father that you procreated the baby to make. So now they champion this whole feminism thing where they like, forget the guy that you procreated and had to conceive the baby by. Forget about him. Raise the baby on your own as a strong, independent, so-called Black woman. This is what they cheerleading. And they pay people, like it was just saying, to do a service to sell their own people out just to get a few pieces of silver. Those are the sellouts. The ones that's talking about marriage is like slavery. You know who else said marriage is like slavery, Dr. G?
Who said that?
Hillary Clinton.
Well,
she said marriage is like slavery. So that quote that old girl has said, that's where she got that from. Pick up this book right here. Get this book. Get this one.
The Negro Project. Who's it by? Bruce. I'm trying to see who's.
It's so
we know
crazy.
Margaret Sanger, who was champion and heading Planned Parenthood for these abortions and so forth, felt that we were inferior. And it's interesting when you look at a lot of these, ones that had their opinions about who we are. Grant, she talks about Carlos Linnea and different ones, the ones that had their opinion. Most of them, to me, when I look at their pictures, I'm like, they look more like they're mixed with apes. They try to say that we had some sort, but you look at them, and when he talks about the what do they call it? I can't say that name. Negro at your, how he talks about
Negro Yavera Areba. Yeah.
Well, they look like they came from that.
Yeah, they did.
We didn't.
Nah. They came from that. But see, old girl, Margaret Sanger, she called our people human weeds. And she was working. Yeah. on God. And she was working with the churches, the so-called Black churches. The Black churches was the ones that was letting her come in there and promote, at that time, eugenics. The Black churches was the ones letting her slide in there and saying, yeah, we got this healthcare for y'all. And then they changed it from eugenics to Planned Parenthood. The rest is history. And our women are voluntarily going down there and having abortions. Abortions take more so-called Black babies out than wars have done, jails have done, violence has done, alcohol has done, smoking has done. More abortions do more damage than all of those combined.
I'm sorry. Apparently I don't have my computer plugged in like it's supposed to. Let me make sure. Hold up.
No, it's all good.
All right. I thought I had it plugged in, but we're good now. I was going to lose it. It's interesting about, the abortions and women and the importance. See, women took on the responsibility of being the portal or the vessels to bring in other lives. When we're in that in that send me, I go, I call it place. When we say, oh, I'll go down, women took on the responsibility of actually bringing life through. So when we have abortions, we women, and I'm guilty, I've said it on here before, not knowing back then the impact of what it was, but it was aborting not only a baby, but a mission, an assignment that I said yes to in time, and back in time immemorial. Before I came here, I said, yes, I'll be a portal. So their mission, we become the mission, or the portals, or the spaceships, or whatever, you starships, if you will, to bring new life in.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like I said, it's not remiss from them. That's why they're checking birth dates and all this stuff, because they look at astrology, numerology, and figure out when the champions are coming in.
Right.
When my mother was pregnant with me, my mother was 17 years old, didn't know she was pregnant until she was about 5 months pregnant. I found out. And when she found out she was pregnant, she told me she did everything she could to try to, sit on turpentine, jump down the steps. But I had to hide, I told somebody, in quiet and secret for 5 months when it was, too hard to get rid of me, because I realized I had to be here. You see what I mean? And some souls don't get that same opportunity to get to see their mission through. And see, the women are not given that divine mandate. We don't realize that that's a divine mandate to bring forth life. However, even if it, they say, well, if it might have been incest, it might have been this. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. But until I found out that my grandfather was a result of incest, that I never knew why my great grandmother was kind of close in age to my grandfather. It wasn't until about 3-4 years ago that my uncle gave me the story that she was 11 years old when she had my grandfather, and she was a product of her stepfather having raped her. But if that had not happened, then my mother probably wouldn't have been here, and neither would I. You see what I'm saying? So circumstances sometimes are not the idea, but the end result is you got to be here because you got to do your mission. But we got to make sure we don't abort the mission.
Yeah, and just think, Dr. G, to add on to that, just think what all those abortions that have happened. Just think if just half of the number of abortions that have happened within recent times, look at the population that our people will be right now. We talking about 1 point something million people, 1 point something. Look how many people would still be here. The number is some crazy. If you Google the number of abortions within the past 20 years and put that on the screen, and you would say, like, with that number alone, our numbers will be unstoppable. And we still doing work right now with the numbers that we still got. But everything happened by divine timing, though. But I see that I just had to mention that because I see that a lot of feminists and a lot of people out there that got dark motives and dark motivation. They're trying to put a wedge, and they're trying to put some kind of, some kind of division between the man and the woman. But the whole time, the man and the woman is divinely made for each other. We are here for each other to conduct a mission together, though. That's the real work, though, because we got to have each other to complete the work. This is why Noble Drew Ali was uplifting the woman out of the cares of the world, and he had his foot on the solid rock, the salvation. So we have to be here to uplift the woman, and the woman she's getting flooded with so much cares and division. Modern day women with this, I can do it on my own, I don't need nobody. That's not divine order. That's not natural order. That's not law. You need the divine one that was built specifically for you. Can't nobody do it on their own. That wouldn't even be in order of law. That wouldn't even be law and order. So us having the divine masculine energy and divine feminine energy is divinely built for each other to be in unison and harmony and love, though. Getting back to the love aspect, that's what it is. And love is more. That's why we say peace more. That's the love. But you know, Islam.
Yeah. I saw a comment, and I think we very whoever said it wasn't on the very beginning, and they were saying that you had not mentioned anything about the war, but I think we started out kind of mentioning the war.
Yeah.
It is current in events. What do you see in regards to how should we be looking at this war? I mean, we're seeing, I've seen a meme where it showed a missile going to hitting the, what is the statue in, the heart coming from over there. But how should we, I look at it as this is not a war with me. This is a war with the de facto government. But, it's the same with the people over there. It's not a war with the people, but it's a war with the government, the de facto government that's sitting over there. So how do you see how we should be looking at this current situation called the war?
I look at that as it's theater. All that stuff that's going over there is theater. And even if it's some stuff that's going over there is in real and people are actually having casualties over there, that's traumatic that people are having casualties over there if it's really happening. But the people that are in the positions of political power that are conducting this so-called war, but they haven't even declared war yet, official war. They haven't even declared official war yet anyway. So this is why I said it's theater. But the people are pulled into this circus, this theater, and
give energy to it.
Yeah, they keep giving the energy. They keep tapping into the energy and they feeding the monster. The less participation that we give this monster, the more we gonna starve it so it could die. We got to just starve the monster. Think about if we starve the monster on this side of the world and on that side of the world. Do not participate. Look at Italy right now. Look at France right now. Look at Sri Lanka right now. Everything right now is in chaos because the people right now, well, I'm not gonna say it's in chaos for the corporations. The corporations are falling because the people have finally decided we're not gonna participate in y'all BS. We're gonna unplug. France right now is in flames. It ain't even on the news like that. Italy is in flames. Sri Lanka, they didn't rate it. Nepal, they didn't rate it the whole building over there. International news, that's the only place you really gonna go out there and find information like this. Like tap into international news and start looking at the world. When you look over there at the stuff that's happening over there and what they say, Dubai and all that stuff that over there, the Emirates and all that, they over there in chaos over there. They still got slavery over there right now. Libya, you could go over there and buy somebody for $200 right now. Right now, today. So they got stuff going on over there, but see, that's their own karma. You see, we got whole genocide over here in the Americas right here. You got people who had babies, who are foreigners. They had babies in American lands, and they over here pretending that they actually American and they got status like we got. See, that's what the people over here in America need to focus on. Who are the real Americans and who ain't the real Americans? Because we the only ones that can step up and say, we the real Americans, this our shit. The rest of y'all, you got to pack your bags and go back over there where you come from. Unless you get in line and declare yourself a subject to the Al-Moroccan Empire. That part. Because we can't go over there to Asia and we can't go to Australia. We can't go to Europe. We can't go over there and say, hey, I'm an American, but I'm living over here now in Asia and I had a baby over here. Now I'm Asian now.
No, we can't.
We can't do that. So how all them coming over here talking about they American now? I ain't never heard Dr. G. I've never heard the term European American. You ever heard that? Hey, I never heard it before. So let's stop calling them American because they ain't American. But that's voluntary.
That's what we were talking about. Premise of what we were supposed to be talking about on Friday, Grand Sheik and I, was from, the standpoint I felt like this birthright citizenship issue was a farce because the people that were putting the issue, to the court, they themselves are immigrants. So where you draw the line at? At what point are you not an immigrant just because you colonized 250 years ago or 400? You're still an immigrant.
Still an immigrant.
Still an immigrant.
They still immigrants. None. They still. Hey, you asked me about aliens earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
They the aliens. They're the aliens here. They not from here. They can't come. How you gonna be a foreigner over here in American land and you just say out the blue, I'm just like you. You ain't like us. You not Jews sanguineous to this land. Right. You can never be like us. You could be a subject to the Al-Moroccan Empire, but you can't never be an American. That's gonna take accountability, though. I mean, that's like that'd be no different than you got a mansion, and all of a sudden you go on vacation or you have an accident while you on vacation, bump your head. Now you forget that this was your mansion. But whole time you got people now they living in your mansion. They over here living in your mansion. Took over, got their feet on the counter, eating sandwiches on the couch, watching your TV, tearing up the whole house. It's chaos in there now. And you come over here telling them, hey, can I get a room in your house? Can I get a room in your house? Whole time, this your house. And they ain't supposed to be here. They're squatters. They're not Americans here. None of them is Americans here. So it's time for it's the changing of the mentality, though. We got to mentally get to that part where we like, these people are not the same as us. They not like us. Yeah. So we got to stop talking to them as if they're like us. Y'all not Americans. You not white people. You Caucasians. You're foreigners. Act accordingly. Islam.
Wow. This has been great. If someone is to take just one thing from your work and from this conversation, what should it be? What do you hope this conversation becomes over time? What do you hope that it achieves?
Building and destroying. I will hope that it sparks something for somebody to tap into themselves, and then they grow and develop from that, because it's always growth and development. So I will hope whoever see this beam out, I will hope they see it and take bits and pieces and do their own research and make it a point to say, did I learn something from this? And if I did learn something from this, I'm going to take it and I'm going to add on to it. I'm going to develop it even more. Go further. Grow and develop. That's what it's for.
Oh, wow. This has been a powerful conversation, to say the least. And what we've explored tonight, like I said, beyond, we're going to talk about the book initially, and we did a little bit about that, but it's about perspective. You know what I mean? And This is important. It's about being willing to look at something that you may, have seen your entire life. And a lot of us have seen these things and lived it, and ask yourself, have I ever really examined this? Because a lot of times we don't, because sometimes what's been presented the most is what's been, questioned, it's questionable, so with you sharing tonight and from your heart, and I appreciate your grit. you know, and that's always important. Folks can always, tell when somebody's coming, from here, and not just, trying to tickle somebody's fancy. We don't do
Yeah,
that anymore. It's,
it's
it's time
fine.
out for that. It's
Right.
time out for that. And I really appreciate you sharing your insights with us tonight. And I'm sure those watching now on the live and those who will be watching this in the rebroadcast are going to feel the same way. I want to make sure I put it in the chat. You all, Brother Cush's PayPal link. It was one of the short link, like some of the ones, but I put it a couple times in the chat. I want you to go and send him some love, because this brother, he pours out the real Cush Day on TikTok, and he's putting out some powerful insights. And a lot of times, sometimes when you sit down like this, it might be, a little bit more. It's a different atmosphere. But when you're putting together those things, and when they're coming and they hit like that. I talked to somebody yesterday, and they said, "Oh yeah, I shared one of the lady that I went to visit. She said, "Oh yeah, I shared one of Cush Day's videos with you today." so, so it was, so people are receiving what it is you're putting out, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming back. Like I said, it's been a while. It's been, at least about, because I think I've been doing this about 5 years now or so. So you came maybe after the first year, so it's been at least 4 years or so.
Yeah.
And so, but keep on doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? For those of you who are not following him on TikTok, is The Real Cush Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in the book, you said you have another book coming out too, right?
Yeah, another book is on the way right now. It's in the oven. It's in the oven right now. It's in the oven right now.
I got one in the oven too, so I know what that means. You work. Every time if you're like me, every time you think you're done, something else comes, and you be like, "Oh, I got to put that in there too."
Yep.
So
you know how I go.
Oh yeah. I've been trying to get this book out since last year, but it's it's on slow bake, but it's coming. It's coming. But but truly appreciate you coming on tonight. And to all of you who are watching, take your time with this. You don't have to rush and accept, and you don't have to rush to reject. You just observe. You know what I mean? Inquire, think. I think we said, if I could just get you to think, right? You come up with the response and the answers yourself. If you get, sometimes we gotta pull our heads out of the from in front of the social media for a minute, so, and think for yourself. You come to your own, godlike conclusions. You know what I mean? So you don't have to blame anybody else for your misfortunes if you don't worked on it. Don't just take everything that I say. And I'm sure, Brother Cush, you don't want people to take what you say without further investigation.
Yeah. Do the research. Do the research yourself, because that's how you really gonna dive deep, and then you're gonna make it your own. Because you're gonna dive in and you're gonna see, like, okay, this is what I came up with based off, because that's how I came in. Like, I'm trying to prove Taj wrong. I'm trying to prove Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey wrong. And the more I start digging into the law and the history, I'm like, dang, he was on point. See, and that's how I look at it, and that's how, to me, that's the best teacher. Because when you, I was telling my children this in homeschool, I was telling them that it's not always about doing it a conventional type of way. Some people they learn, they listen different, they write different, they learn different, but it's all about, are you growing and developing better than you was yesterday? That's what it's all about.
That's the question. Yeah, that is the question. And if you're doing that, and like I said about the more a glitch will come out, but that's, you're glitching already. And for those of you who don't know what glitch stands for, it stands for grow, learn, inspire, teach, create, heal. It's not just it's not a malfunction. It's actually doing, it's actually action. And so I appreciate you. Really appreciate you coming. Also, I want to say before we go, I have a Zoom presentation coming. Dr. G's always doing something. And when I find something I think really is good that folks need to look into, I think I found something like that. And I've got that running under the on the banner right now. If you'd like to learn how to be able to save on the rising cost of your energy. I don't know about where you are, but here in Delaware and a lot of places, people are like, all of a sudden you're looking at $700-800 note of electric and gas bills for 1 month for places where people were paying maybe a couple hundred, 3 or 4. The costs are rising, and
Yeah,
I want
for
to
sure.
share. Yeah, so I want to share a free way to perhaps reduce your costs or to lock it in a way. It's not actually available in every state right now, but even if it's not in your state, there's opportunity for you to increase your finances and that'll help you pay this bill. So if you would like to be invited, I believe the meeting is going to be next Tuesday and next Thursday. And some really top folks coming in that are really connected that want to share with my audience, because I realize that I reach a lot of people, and I don't even care if you're out of the country. You can be out of the country with this and still help people in this country save some funds and save it yourself, so that because the rates are not going down. And
No.
in our state they're trying to get an increase. I'm like, what? So if you're interested, just text invite me to 302-345-0500 so that I can get an invitation out to you to hear about this, because I'm sure if you like us, it has not gotten better, it's gotten worse. And now with this so-called crisis, they're using that as an excuse to raise the price of everything when it comes to energy. So if you're interested, please text, and I'll get an invite to you for next Tuesday or Thursday, so that you can maybe save a few FRNs.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I said, go if you're in the Chicago area. I'm not sure what area your barbershop is, but
South side. If you in Chicago, you come to the Hundreds South Side. That's where we at. Infinite Styles Barbershop. Pop up. All you gotta do is slide. We in there. All right.
Oh, they don't have to make, because a lot of barbershops now you have to make an appointment before you go.
Nah, I mean you could, but if you could if you want to book an appointment with me, you could just catch me on Booksy. You could book an appointment with me on Booksy. So that's on my Instagram page. So just go to my IG. It'll send you straight to a link right there. And that's why I love being a barber too, because you could book an appointment and you cutting their hair, you could chop it up about, you know what I'm saying? All that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, again, like I said, I do appreciate you, and in spite of everything that happened with my computer getting overtaken,
Yeah.
I mean, y'all don't realize I had to put a whole new computer up just to have this less than an hour before we got started, because I got a virus on my other computer. But this is a new computer that I bought like a year ago and had never used it. So I'm surprised that I was able to get it up like this. But I appreciate you being here.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you.
All of y'all being here. All right. Until next time, like I said, next Tuesday I'll be doing a private meeting for those who want to learn how to save on their energy and add some funds to their resources. Then please text me. Okay.
Yeah. I want to tell them, Dr. G. First, I told you I want to say thank you for having me on the show. I want to shout out all the Moors, Muslims, all y'all Asiatics, all y'all critical thinkers that are out there. Stay a critical thinker. Stay yourself. Just be yourself, man. Be the best version of yourself, because this is a day in, day out work. This work for me is every day is work. So just I want to shout out all y'all that's out there doing the work, working on yourself, working on your character, working on what you stand for, working on your purpose. That's what it's all about, man. Teaching the children, teaching one. That's what it's all about. Everybody out here in Chicago, South Side, Wild Hundreds, East Side Crazy, out west, up north, all the GDs, BDs, MCs, Vice Lords, Four Corner Hustlers, all the Latin Kings, all y'all out there, Black Peace Stone Nation, the Rangers, all y'all out there, man. Yeah, West Coast, East Coast, down south, you know what I'm saying? Everywhere in the middle, everywhere overseas, all y'all. Much love to all y'all that be tuning in. Yeah, Islam.
That Islam. All right, we're gonna go out with my always glitching theme song, and until next time, like I said, I thank you for being a part of this presentation, and I thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you like, share, and share this video. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to this channel, both channels, Official House of Reawakening Minds and Dr. G Always Glitching. Really appreciate y'all.
Always glitching, that's me. Doing what I can to be the best I can be. Always striving to reach the top. In spite of their restrictions, I'm someone they can't stop. I'm growing, learning, inspiring, teaching, creating, and healing. It's action more than a feeling. That's why I'm always glitching. Oh yes, I've got what it takes to be the best of the best. Not competing with anybody but me. Just here to make a difference and set your captive mind free. The Matrix is not just a womb. They've gone and made it a tomb. Their system buries your dreams beneath lies and manipulative schemes. Reality is not what it seems. That's why I'm always glitching. That's me. Doing what I can to be the best I can be. Always striving to be the cream of the crop. I'm thriving in their matrix, 'cause I'm the one they can't stop. It's my time, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time, it's my time. It's